And welcome back to Clutch Time. Today, we are talking a little bit more about Wisconsin and just how interesting it has been for them to be just really the road warriors here of SWU. We're also going to be looking briefly here at the SWBA. We're going to be looking at the Eastern Conference, just kind of giving my reflection of what is going on here as they trend towards the playoffs here shortly. And so let's go ahead and start with what's been going on with the Wisconsin Badgers, the Road Warriors. And so shout out to my wrestling fans out there, the Road Warriors. And then also, too, if you've ever seen the movie with Mel Gibson, Mad Max, the Road Warrior, that is exactly where we were going with this one with the Wisconsin Badgers, because look, they have been very impressive on the road. And I talked about this, briefly yesterday, and just their ability to get road wins. I mean, out of their 9 wins, 8 of those have been on the road. They beat Oregon, they beat Missouri, they beat Harvard, they beat Princeton, they beat Purdue, they beat Maryland. They've just had 2 critical road wins here this last 48 hours against Rutgers and Michigan. So look, they're knocking off some pretty good teams here on the road. And I think that the one quality win right now that I see for them is been the Princeton win, considering where Princeton is now. But, I just wonder about this team because look, I know that they're right there in the thick of things right now when it comes down to the Big Ten, because with this win, currently they sit 5th in the Big Ten, and they're right with Michigan. They're tied at 4-3. Then you got Purdue at 4-2. You got Illinois at 4-2, and then Minnesota. It's really kind of controlling their own destiny right now at 5-2, but can very much be caught and had here by Wisconsin or any of these teams behind them. And so, I just wonder, are they going to be able to win enough games, especially if they're going to be a team that's going to be in a bubble situation? Because here's the thing. I mean, you could say, all right, well, they're going to win on the road. And then when they get to Hoopsteria, it is a neutral kind of site. And I talked about this a little bit yesterday, but I just wonder because they do have some tough home games coming up, because their next game is going to be at home against Minnesota, who leads the conference. Then they're on the road against Illinois. So I certainly think that you could probably pencil them in to be a favorite. And then look, Wisconsin, they're at home against Michigan State. And I know Michigan State, look, they're at 3-3. And so their season is still very much alive as far as getting up there as well. So, that's going to be tough because they're at home. Then they're going to be on the road against Indiana. So I would pencil them in there. But then here at the end, they have to take on Purdue again. They're going to be at home. And so that is tough because we just talked about how Purdue is right in the thick of things. In fact, I talked about them about a week ago and how confident that Coach Matt Painter has been with this group and feeling like that they're coming together. So I'm sure they're going to be super charged up. Then they finish with Ohio State and then Indiana again. So they have the potential really to go, really finish poorly here if they cannot get any type of home traction. And so I'm not sure what it's going to take for this Wisconsin group to really get it together. The one thing that I do love about them is they don't really have, a whole bunch of star power. When you look at their roster, you look at the way that they get their points and things like that, like really they do it as a team, just across the board. And I think that is what really makes, just college basketball so special, because I think a lot of times when it comes down to winning, Hoopsteria, it's not about the best individual. I think that's something that's talked about often. We're talking about, he's going to be an amazing SWBA prospect and things like that. But the bottom line is this: if you want to win in Hoopsteria, you've got to have a great team that comes together at the right time. And so, I think that they might have a team that could have the perfect storm here. You have a player in Harvell who's averaging 11.1. They got Culver at 10.4. They got, Tamir Johnson at 10.2. So they have several players that are they're decent and they're just not extraordinary. And so I want to see what they're going to do, especially if they get into a neutral environment, because even if it's close to, being a home game, you're still going to be in a situation where you're on the road. You're going to be in that particular area for the first couple rounds. You're not on your home court. It's not the gym that you're used to playing on. And so I think that maybe you could argue that the Wisconsin Badgers might be one of the more dangerous bubble teams here. So I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this recent resurgence here from the recent resurgence from the Wisconsin Badgers and what they've been doing here. Because I will tell you this, no matter what happens, I think with another win or two, they've definitely, just gone leaps and above really all the expectations for them, because they only won 9 games last year, I think. And so now they're at 9, and I do think that they're going to really break through that. I've talked about they at least have a couple more road games. And so if they can find a way to get maybe some of these home wins, you're talking about a team that has really kind of stepped over the expectations that maybe a lot of people had for them. And so next, I wanted to briefly go ahead and jump into the SWBA and talking about the Eastern Conference here. And so, shout out to SimWorld earlier today, just looking at that program. And so, look, here's the thing with this. And so I think the Eastern Conference, to me, I think it has been probably just a 2-team race for the most part. You look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Boston Celtics. I think that, look, they have been, pretty extraordinary with what they've been able to do this season. Even though, the Cavs, as good as they have been, I'm not sure that they're necessarily primed for a finals appearance. I'm not sure that they're primed to win it either, because really, when you look at Donovan Mitchell, you look at the fact that he's had some extraordinary seasons in Utah. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to really shake that here with the Cavaliers, even though I think that this is probably one of the better teams that he's played on in all his years here in SWBA. But for me, I think it comes down to just being healthy. I think that is going to be key for this team. And also for me personally, I think that Donovan Mitchell is going to have to become a bit more of a playmaker for me. I think that I love the fact that he's able to score and score in abundance, but the assists have never really been there. And I think at some point when you get into the playoffs, the game slows down. It starts to become a half court possession type of game. And you really take away some of the, kind of the high volume, the fast break stuff that the Cavs like to do, and you slow them down, you get them into the half court sets. I wonder, are they going to be able to execute enough? Do they have enough juice to really push like a team like the Celtics? Like, I think the Celtics, they can get you either way. I feel like the Celtics, look, they can run up and down the court. They certainly can hoist up the 3-point shots. They're a tough team. Obviously, I think that they really they're an extension of their head coach. I think that they definitely have that toughness. And so I think that that's a team that's been complete. They've been to the top of the mountain. And so that's why I still like the Celtics if it comes down to a 7-game series. With the Knicks, look, the Knicks have all the pieces in place, but it's just a matter of, are they going to be healthy? Are they going to be fresh? I've loved what they've done in the offseason in getting Bridges over there, and then also to Karl Anthony Towns. But, with Coach Tibbs, love him. He coaches teams very hard, and you wonder, are they going to have enough? Are they going to repeat exactly what they did last year where they ran out of gas? You got the Bucks, and with the Bucks, look, I love Doc Rivers. Had a chance to watch a lot of his games when he was with the Clippers, but I just think that ever since they have lost, Holiday over to the Celtics, and I just feel like defensively, this team has changed a lot since they had won the SWBA championship. And so I just think that with the Bucks, I'm still not trusting them necessarily defensively. I think that when you look at Dame Lillard, exceptional player, but I think that he can definitely be, I want to say a defensive liability, but I think that offenses are definitely going to be wanting to hunt him in sets, especially in the half court. And then with the Pacers, look, the Pacers, it's all about the others for me with the Pacers. I think that, you can talk a lot about Halliburton. You can talk a lot about Miles Turner, and I totally get it. I mean, they are definitely some, stars here, but I think it's going to be the others for them. Like, what do you get out of your backup center in Thomas Bryant? Like, what are you getting, from TJ McConnell, who I think is going to have to really play some big minutes? Obi Toppin, Pascal Siakam. I believe he's a star, but you have him now for a full season now that you've re-signed him. Aaron Naismith, I think that is great to see that he's really getting some run right now. I think that Andrew Nimhart, like I think that this is a player, these players are going to have to step up. And another player that really has had, I think, kind of a down season this year has been Benedict Mathurin. I think that he's super important for them. So it's always the others when it comes down to the Pacers, because we know what their stars can do. But if they can get some real star power from the others, I think that this is going to be a team that can certainly make some noise. With the Pistons, look, I love the Pistons a lot. Young team. I've loved how they put it together. And this is what you're talking about with just staying in the process. And so the Pistons, Cade Cunningham, I love what Jalen Doran has done. This is a young group that has really come together, playing very well. And I'm really excited to see them, hopefully, once it gets down to the playoff season. And so with the Hawks, Magic, and the Bulls and the Heat, I think that they're obviously fighting for that play-in situation. I think the Bulls have been quite the story if you've had a chance to look at them. I mean, they've traded off Levine, and really they have gotten a great return from what they've got via the trade in Kevin Huerter. I think he's played exceptional. You've also had some good contributions from Trey Jones, who had his first double-double in last night's game, and he's been exceptional at the starting point guard position, and so much so that I think the talk now around Chicago is, do they extend him? And also, too, with what they've been getting from Zach Collins, he's actually given them an interior presence that this team has badly needed in the front court. With the Magic, they're finally getting healthy. The Hawks have been always trending right around this situation. They really need to press the reset button. But I think that, look, they've done, I think, a good enough job with the draft pick that they have last year. I do like Zachary Rizichet, I believe his name is. And so I think he's been pretty solid for them. And then with the Heat, it has been a complete drop-off since Jimmy Butler has been gone. It's been a complete reality check for the Miami Heat. But it's going to be interesting. I think that it can go either way. But 1 and 2 are definitely set in stone. And I just like the Celtics a lot better when it comes down to winning time. And so anyway, let me know in the comments what you're thinking here about the SWBA. What are you thinking about the Road Warriors, the Wisconsin Badgers? I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. And as we always say here around SWTV and just around this network, see the game, be the game. I will see you guys on the next one. All right, peace.